Here we are, Cesar Chavez Park, on the second day after our march around the bay, and we just found a nice little shaded spot after looking at some of the terrain that we walked, and we wanted to reflect for those who were following the initial part of our journey. It was quite a day. We had a lot of marchers, I think 16 people in total,
Yeah.
at different parts of the trip.
Mm-hmm.
It was none of us actually completed the march.
Nope.
Some people made it to the Golden Gate Bridge, did all three bridges. Nate, how was your experience?
My experience was rougher than expected. I was really set on completing the 50 miles, but around the 12th mile, I started to get a tightness in this front calf shin area here, lower shin, and that started around mile 12, and then around, I had to call it quits at around mile 25. The last 1 to 2 miles, and I was just basically taking baby steps, just like hating every last step to get to the end, trying to catch up. And it wasn't that I couldn't walk anymore, it was that I couldn't keep a good pace to keep up with the group. So in that case, it was better to just rest, because you got to know your limits, right? You can't overdo it, and it's better to be able to walk at least a little bit the next day, instead of just being completely injured and on bed rest or something for a week.
Yeah, I think that this speaks to, oh, hello, Dougie. We got a little friend here.
What's going on?
So I think that this speaks to a general principle of fitness, which is finding your safe hormetic zone. And if you push yourself just up to your limit, you're going to get stronger, especially in the area where you're weakest. So I have been experiencing mainly the area right between my toes and my foot gets the worst blisters, and that forces me to slow down. And in this case, it made me stop in the end at mile 41, just on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had done the 50 a few months earlier,
Right.
The biggest takeaways for me were that the social component makes it a lot more enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot less efficient also.
Right.
And if you can't focus on efficient technique, you're going to lose the precious, energy, and you'll start to fatigue faster. You'll wear things out faster.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is just the hard road, the hard concrete.
Yeah.
I think is a little bit unnatural.
Right. Yeah, that made a huge difference, because I've walked somewhere around 16, 17 miles, like anywhere about 26, 27K.
Yeah, without a problem.
Without a problem on natural terrain.
Stuff like this.
Right, there's stuff with angles and
Variation.
and a little more give, whereas concrete is just the same hard surface, the same angle, the same 90 degrees over and over again. So that really isolates, starts to isolate muscles in a sense, just like how bodybuilding, you're isolating the same muscles, or bicep curls or something, putting a lot of stress in just one particular muscle. It's kind of the same thing when you're walking over the same environment.
Right. I think of the saying that nature doesn't draw in straight lines.
Right.
And when you try to force it to, bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a word of warning for people who are planning this on your own is don't do it necessarily on paved roads of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Find a place out in nature. And if we do this again, that would be the first thing we do, is find a natural path. The other thing is, while the Kennedy Challenge is strictly speaking a 50-mile march in 16 hours, the original was the Teddy Roosevelt directive, and he gave everyone in the Army 3 days to complete it.
Right.
Three days where basically you start marching, that's the start time for that day.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you rest at times throughout that day, you have to count that.
Mm-hmm.
When you stop marching that day, that counts toward your 20 hours. You have 20 hours across 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so going back to Friday, we marched from 6 a.m. until about 9 p.m. So that was 15 hours, which actually gives me another 5 hours today to do the last 9 miles. And I've done, starting at 2:45, since then I've done about 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I have still a couple hours left to do my remaining 5 miles, 4.5 miles, and then San Francisco's curfew starts, so I can't be outside anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, we just got notified that San Francisco's taking it a step further and putting a curfew at 5. I mean,
I think the problem is people have so much pent-up energy. They've been, treated like zoo animals for so long that
right.
now they go out and this is something about, human domestication now on steroids, where, we've got these domestic puppies over here. And, hey, puppy, this guy's an old feller.
Yeah.
We're becoming like the animals that we have domesticated. Now nature has started to domesticate us, or we've started to domesticate ourselves.
Yeah.
So this is what we're pushing back against. Kennedy was an inspiration for America in the 60s, and Roosevelt before him. And we're just trying to bring back that legacy while acknowledging that we ourselves are part of the problem. We are the soft American.
Right. Yeah. And, it's really, I mentioned this in the other live after, my, I think someone related to it, calling it the dreaded walk home. That's exactly what it was. When I was walking back to the boat, the dock, it was a bit dreaded walk. It was really saddening to have my mind set on doing something and my body not being physically capable to do it, and it's the reason why I, train the way I train, to push those boundaries, to push those limits, that's it, push the boundaries of our own capabilities.
So are we doing it next year?
We're doing it next year.
On a natural trail?
On a natural trail.
Possibly over the course of 3 days, a little camping thrown in
Possibly, yeah.
All right.
Let's do it. See you guys next year. Hope you can join us. It's going to be a better experience.
Stay healthy, stay free.
Yeah.